Welcome to the 2025 StubHub NLL Faceoff, live from Seeger and Shortino Field at the Blue Cross Arena in Rochester, New York. It's the Knighthawks and the Philadelphia Wings in a holiday showdown. Welcome inside the Blue Cross Arena, alongside Brendan McDaniels. I'm Craig Rybczynski. Griffin Della Penna will be joining us momentarily. And how about this? Rochester comes in 1-0, dominating. 15-7 win at San Diego. Philadelphia also unbeaten. They edged Colorado 8-7. But the big festivities and celebration tonight is a new chapter of lacrosse in Rochester, New York, with the purchase of the franchise on August 5th by the Seneca Nation. I would have to say, Brendan, it is a match made in heaven.
It absolutely is. We now have strong, stable ownership who wants to invest in the community. They have a long-rooted tradition in lacrosse. The Seneca Nation is in this building in full force tonight. It's going to be an amazing night here in Rochester to open up this season.
Who are the players to watch tonight?
When we talk about Rochester, we got to start with the 2024 reigning National Lacrosse League MVP, Connor Fields. 3 straight seasons with 100-plus points. He is top 10 in the National Lacrosse League in loose balls. That includes all defensemen and all transition players. He's a crafty scorer, an elite passer, and he has some of the best footwork in the National Lacrosse League. On the other side for the Philadelphia Wings, we're going to take a look at Joe Resetaritz. He is the all-time leading scorer amongst American-born players with nearly 900 career points. And last season at age 35, he had career highs with 121 points and 81 assists. He has an excellent shooting range, and he can thread the needle passing from anywhere on the field.
Home opener for the Rochester Knighthawks. This is game number 2 for both teams. First road game for Philadelphia as we take a look now at the goalie comparison.
You take a look at the goalies, both of them. Nick Damoud and Rylan Hartley had outstanding games last week. Both only gave up 7 goals allowed, 50-plus saves for both of them. You see 89% save percentage. That 59 saves for Rylan Hartley, that is a career high. It was 58, and they went back later this week. They found that they were shorted him a save, so he's up to 59 saves, a career high.
So both teams, as we said, unbeaten. You take a look now at Rochester, taking a look back at last season.
Yeah, they finished 10-8 overall. They won 6 of their last 7 games to make the playoffs. They did lose in that quarterfinals out in Vancouver. Connor Fields and Ryan Lanchbury, top 5 in the NLL in points. And of course, Connor Fields, as we just mentioned, he was the National Lacrosse League MVP last season. And those guys picked up right where they left off last week in San Diego.
And Rochester's made the playoffs the last 3 seasons. Now you take a look at Philadelphia, who had a hot start, but not that great of a finish.
Yeah, they got in the midst of an 8-game losing streak, and they finished 2-9 overall. They missed the playoffs. Brendan O'Neill did make the all-rookie team. Blaze Reardon, Joe Resetaritz, they had great seasons. Mitch Jones had a great season for them as well. He's no longer with his team. That's a team that hasn't made the playoffs since 2022. But Ian Rubel in his 2nd season, he mentioned last year was kind of a learning experience for him, taking over for his mentor Paul Day. And now in season 2, they had a great start last week against Colorado. They beat them 8-7. And they're on a little bit of a hot streak, and so this is an interesting game for both teams tonight. As you take a look at Ian Rubel, the head coach, former outstanding player in the National Lacrosse League, and a lot of people coming into this season did not think much of the Philadelphia Wings, and a lot of people were surprised at their ability to beat Colorado last week. And this is a true test for this Philly Wings team. They've got a lot of young players on this team, but they do have those veterans like we talked about, like Resetaritz and Reardon and Rowlett at the face-off X. This is going to be a great matchup tonight.
Ian Rubel ended his career with Rochester. He always holds a special place in his heart. He said 2 places when he played Toronto and Rochester. Take a look at Mike Hazen, who has been here a long, long time. Since the late 90s as a player, he transitioned into the head coach. He's 5th all-time in wins in National Lacrosse League history. Got his team off to a 1-0 start.
Yeah, and he's the only coach to lead an organization to 3 state championships, which he did with the original Rochester Knighthawks. And you saw that graphic where he's 35 and 50 overall. Remember, this was an expansion team that started brand new, so his first couple years were a little bit rough. And you see Jeremy Thompson, the new addition for Rochester, only 2 face-off wins for him last week going against Trevor Baptiste for San Diego. I imagine that you're going to see a more traditional effort by Jeremy Thompson tonight.
First opportunity, Reardon on the doorstep. He's denied by Hartley.
Yeah, Ryland Hartley, he made some great saves last week, and he gets off to a good start there with it. You're just going to see this Rochester defense, Craig. They were a lot more aggressive last week than we saw them last year.
Jake Pacino had a goal last week, and McConvey is knocked down. And back away come the Wings in transition.
It was not a great pass by Pacino, as McConvey was already double teamed when he tried to squeeze it into him.
Opening minute, Rochester against Philadelphia's O'Neill out there for the first time, as Young will give it down into the near corner. Brought up top, the shot, that's denied, as the long bid by LeClaire is stopped by Hartley. Back over to Young. He plays in the PLL with O'Neill, so some familiarity. Over now near side, Resetaritz. Fed back in front. The dunk attempt, and that one is waved off. Crease violation.
Yeah, stepped in the crease on the back end. Otherwise, it was a good-looking play by the Wings. They didn't score a lot last week, but they're certainly efficient on the offensive end.
Joe Resetaritz said like last year, they played a great first half. They just have to find that full 60 minutes. And they're still searching for that. Now in the slot, and Hogg lets that one go wide.
Yeah, Hogg had a beautiful opening. He got himself right to the middle, and he flashed right into the teeth of that defense. He was wide open, but just misfired. And you're going to see that a lot this year with the Rochester offense. They've got so many dynamic scorers that last year they had an excellent offense. This year, off the first game, it looks even better than it was last year.
Bouncing off a check, flipped over, Resetaritz on the high slot, the shot, and Reardon is denied as the left glove of Hartley batted that one into the far corner, and here come the Knighthawks. Thistlethwaite, the rookie out of Peterborough, leading the charge down the floor. Bounces off a one check of the veteran Wagner, and he leaves it back for Lansbury. Waiting for help. Lansbury over now to Fields, as Rochester will spread the floor. Here comes Hogg, takes a shot, gives it across Lansbury to Williams. No, over to Fields, the bouncer, Demuth, the save, the rebound, and that one is picked up. And back away come the Wings into Rochester territory. O'Neill with it on the far boards. Joined by Fennell, and Fennell will take the pass. Over near side, Resetaritz looking, shooting, and a kick save.
Just a nice stutter step by Joe Resetaritz, but an even better save by Hartley as he read that one the entire time.
McConvey drop pass Fields, shooting, that one goes wide. Picked up, Smith shoots, he bounces that one wide. And battle for it on the half wall. 3 Wings, 2 Knighthawks converge. Young comes away with it, but then mishandles it. And that's a crease violation.
2 nice open looks by the Knighthawks. First by Connor Fields off the mark, and then Ryan Smith. You're not going to see too many offensive possessions where both of those guys completely miss the cage.
Fennell to Resetarits. They played here for the old Rochester Knighthawks. Now to Reardon. Back near side, Resetarits. Down low, Fed in front, Fennell. Fennell had 2 goals last week. Gets knocked down in the near corner, rolls it on over, nearly picked off. Grabbed and fired in on goal, and a stick stop by Hartley on the shot by LeClaire.
See the all-time meeting, 9th meeting all-time. Philadelphia leads at 6-2, but Rochester, their last 2 wins came in the last 2 games of this series.
Pass now to Fields, surveying the defense. Looking in the slot, Williams scores! Zed Williams, his first goal as a Nighthawk.
Zed Williams, the product of Silver Creek, down by the Seneca Nation, just south of Buffalo, gets his first goal as a Rochester Nighthawk. And a beautiful off-ball cut by Zed Williams. He gets himself, we saw Hogg get himself into that same spot of the defense. Take a look at that. You see Zed Williams, he's all by himself, right in the teeth of that defense. He slid himself in right between 4 defenders, and a beautiful pass inside, and Rochester's on the board.
They battle for it off the face-off, and how fitting that a member of the Seneca Nation scores a goal in the first home game as the Seneca Nation as owners.
Just so appropriate, and right when the Seneca Nation took over ownership shortly thereafter, the trade was made for Zed Williams to put even more firepower into an already strong offense.
Resetarits fed it up top. That's picked off by Pacino. O'Neal back. So is Young. And Pacino's got to put on the brakes. Over now to Ryan Smith in front of the net. McConvey scores!
Craig, we talked about this Rochester offense and how they're even more dangerous than they were last year. And that is partly from the addition of Zed Williams with the emergence of Thomas McConvey. And you see that east to west pass by Ryan Smith completely swings the ball to the other side. Damoud was slow to get back in position. The defense does not have time to slide over. That ball moves faster than the feet. And Thomas McConvey with his 5th goal of the season. How about McConvey last week? 9 points in the opening game. And that's a product of San Diego last week. They really keyed on Connor Fields, and they were like, we're not going to let Connor Fields beat us. And the problem is that they would constantly double team Connor Fields and leave Thomas McConvey wide open. And he just started burying shots, and it was all over for the Seals.
And that's why McConvey said he's lucky to play with Fields, because the double team usually leaves him wide open.
And Thomas McConvey's not a guy that you can afford to leave open. But Craig, that gets to a point where you have to pick your poison.
We take a look now at what they're calling the 4 horsemen of the Rochester Knighthawks.
Well, you see the 4 horsemen there: McConvey, Lanchbury, Smith, Fields. You don't even have Zed Williams in there. There's got to be a 5th horseman coming in there pretty soon.
Fields shooting, denied. Hogg trying to pick up the rebound. Patton in there, he's knocked down. And somehow Hogg had it, but it's batted away, and here come the Wings down the floor. Charging in on goal. Foley shooting, he missed wide of the net. That's going to be a push call on Rochester, so it'll be Philadelphia possession when we come back, but it's been a hot start.
So it's just a push with possession, so this will just be a possession for the Philadelphia Wings. So the Wings will have the ball when we get back.
Hey, Hawks fans, it's time for the Hilton Start in Mansfield. Get rockin'.
We'll be back on the National.
The National Lacrosse League makes its return to Edmonton on January 16th as the Georgia Swarm match up against the Calgary Roughnecks in the second ever NLL Unboxed Series game. We want you to help bring the energy and excitement to Edmonton for a night to remember. Lyle Thompson and the Swarm, Tanner Cook and the Roughnecks. It's the 2026 NLL Unboxed Series game, Friday, January 16th. Get tickets today.
This is the moment you waited all week for. It's Friday night. Whether you're at home or out on the town, it all starts here.
No, he didn't!
The weekend starts here.
Oh, what a move!
With NLL Friday night on TSN.
The NLL returns to Edmonton as Lyle Thompson and the Swarm host the Roughnecks for the league's second annual NLL Unboxed Series event. Head to Ticketmaster.ca to get your tickets now. Let's take a look now at Rylan Hartley's coming off his best game as a pro. Philadelphia trailing 2-0. Resetarits now to Young, who had 4 assists in the win over Colorado. Fed in front of the net. Resetarits has it, and he stepped in the crease as he drew the double team of Ian Lord and Dan Coates.
Yeah, Ian Lord and Dan Coates, 2 longtime veterans in this league. Ian Lord, over 40 years old, and he's playing like he's in his late 20s.
He is now 10th all-time, all alone in games played in NLL history.
He just passed Josh Sanderson with his getting on the floor tonight.
Lanchbury from the high slot over to McConvey. Little swim move, one-handed, and that one is denied by Damude. Now Fields drive, scores!
You have to have eyes on Connor Fields no matter where he is on the floor. The defense completely lost him right behind the goal line. He picks up the loose ball and puts it in himself for his 5th goal of the season. Take a look at this again. McConvey, but see right there, Connor Fields is Johnny on the spot, and he slides that one in. And those are some of the things that is why he won the MVP award last season, because he is so good. And the challenge flag has come out. It looks like Ian Rubel's going to say that Connor Fields' foot was in the crease, so I'll have to take a look at that. But Connor Fields' ability to get a rebound, scoop it up, and then make something happen with it is huge.
Take a look at Ian Rubel, second year as the head coach of the Philadelphia Wings. So 8:07 to go here in the first, and Philadelphia challenging the ruling on the field, which was a good goal by Connor Fields.
So they're going to look and see if Connor Fields had his foot in the crease. On that play, it looked from live vantage, it looked clean, but clearly Ian Rubel and his staff, they saw something. Tracy Koleski, the offensive coach, Pat McCready, the defensive coach, by the way, 2 former Knighthawks as well. So the general manager, the head coach, and the 2 assistant coaches for the Philadelphia Wings, all former Knighthawks.
Philadelphia threw the challenge flag 34 seconds after the goal. We will not be doing the review as it exceeds the 30-second allotment.
So there you go. So they exceeded the allotment for the goal, but I do think that it was a good goal regardless. So this might be a blessing in disguise for Ian Rubel. So let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, as long as the ball crosses the line before his foot goes in, it's a good goal. So Ian Rubel would have lost that challenge. So the 4 seconds lateness has actually helped him out.
It used to be 35 seconds, now it is 30 seconds, so. The shot, and Hartley reaches behind him to make the stop on the bid by O'Neill.
Yeah, with Rylan Hartley fully healthy, you're seeing the full Rylan Hartley experience, and that's one of the things that Rochester hasn't had in the last couple of years, because he has had to battle some of those injuries, and he comes in this season fully healthy, and you can just see the difference.
Shot by Smith is denied on the doorstep.
Rochester's getting so many good looks here in the first 7.5 minutes of this game. It's going to be hard for the Philly defense to try to slow this offense down.
Bouncing off the near boards, that was Resetarits over to O'Neill. Now to Fennell. Fennell striding up to the top, now gets it over near side to Young. Reziterit's on the run, he shoots and scores.
Joe Reziterit's one of the all-time greats in this league. And that time he sweeps right across the top and he gets a lane to shoot and he rips it past Rylan Hartley. Take a look at this again. He's working on the rookie, gets a little bit of a screen right there and just enough of a lane to shoot. And if you give an inch to Joe Reziterit, he is going to score each and every time. 35 years old from Hamburg, New York, just about an hour and 20 minutes from Rochester. An elite goal scorer ever since he was a JV player at Hamburg High School. And I remember meeting his brother Frank, who was an outstanding goal scorer himself, who played in this league for a little bit with the Stealth and with the Bandits. And I remember when Frank was in high school, he said, "My brother's better than me."
Thompson, the bounce shot, and Damude makes the save.
And that's that grit that Jeremy Thompson brings to us. When we talked to Mike Hazen on the conference call, we can't say what he called Jeremy Thompson, but he called him a word, and he said, "We hated playing him because he was this, but now we're glad he's on our team because he can do that to other people now."
Very gritty, Jeremy Thompson. Reziterit shoots, tried to go 5-hole, but Hartley squeezed the pads together to make the save.
Yeah, Reziterit nearly had his second one in a row on that. That was a good-looking shot, and Hartley had to clamp that at the last second in order to secure it.
Waters looking, drop pass, Smith, near side, Fields. Back across and off the stick of Smith, and Damude out of his goal. He'll fire it up the floor quickly. Davis Allen will leave it on back, and he'll head off for a change, as he'll give it to Eric Fennell. And the first time that Ian Rubel talked to him, Eric Fennell basically said, "I want to make Brendan O'Neill a better player. I'm here to set picks." That shot goes wide. Then I said, after that conversation, he knew that Eric Fennell needed to be a member of the Philadelphia Wings.
Yeah, and he was worried. He wasn't sure if he was going to get him. And as soon as he said that, he said, "All right, I got this guy."
And Pacino scores a rocket from the far wing, and that's his second goal of the season.
It's one part of Jake Pacino's game that has really improved since last year, is his ability to bring that ball up in transition and not only bring it into the offensive end, but show himself as a threat offensively. You take a look at this again, and look at this. They don't respect him as a shooter, and they give him all that space, and they dared him to shoot, and he made him pay right there. And, you know, just finishing up that conversation with Fennell. Fennell is one of the best off-ball offensive players in this entire league. So when Ian Rubel had that conversation with him and said, "We can get Fennell to come here and open up and make life easier for O'Neill," like, yes, they couldn't get him signed fast enough.
Reardon, who hails from nearby Fairport, New York, and that shot by Fennell catches Hartley up high, who makes the save. Here comes Medeiros for Rochester through the neutral zone, splitting the defense coast to coast, and it's stripped away, picked up by McConvey, and he'll give it back to Lanchbury.
Yeah, these transition players for Rochester, they will be aggressive on the offensive end this year. That's not something we've seen from them in years past.
Shot by Waters, Denight gets his own rebound, and Rochester got a fresh 30.
Yeah, they're going to get Medeiros off the field, and they're going to get Hogg back on the field to get their full offensive set out there.
Waters spins, fires, and Damude makes the save. Up the floor now to the captain of the Wings, Chris Corbeil, one of the greatest players and captains that Joe Reziterit said he's ever played with. Driving up top, now fed near side. Here comes LeClaire diving in, and that's a crease violation. As LeClaire tried to duck in underneath, took a heavy hit.
Yeah, he's getting up really slow, but it looks like to be okay.
4-1 Rochester. You're watching the National Lacrosse League. The NLL on ESPN is brought to you by STX Lacrosse and Nike Lacrosse, the official equipment providers of the NLL. By TFL Sports. Collect the stars of the National Lacrosse League with officially licensed trading cards and sticker albums. And by StubHub, your home for tickets to the speed and intensity of the NLL. Let's go down to Griffin Della Penna.
Thank you very much, Ripper. Following last year's playoff loss to Vancouver, head coach Mike Hayson recalled feeling immense sadness, not just because their season was over, but also because it was a potential goodbye to everything this organization has worked for over the last few seasons. And that was due to potential new ownership, maybe relocation or folding of the franchise. But thankfully, the Seneca Nation came up big, bought this franchise, and ever since August have been so critical for players, management, and coaches alike, are absolutely loving the changes made thus far. And Ripper, you mentioned it in the open, one of the coolest parts is the ownership's deep roots to the Creators game.
Thanks a lot, Griffin. While we were in break, Rochester was assessed a penalty. Dan Coates went to the penalty box.
Yeah, so Dan Coates goes to the penalty box for 2 minutes. They say he's checking from behind was the call as Smith tries a shorthanded opportunity right there.
Back away come the Wings on the power play. 1 for 3 in the win over Colorado. Rochester with their penalty killing tied for 5th coming into the weekend, killing off 3 of 4. Rezaterets up top, back to Rezaterets, sizing up the defense, back up top, the shot, O'Neill, it rolls behind Hartley who scoops it up.
Yeah, O'Neill had a slim lane there to shoot. He was able to get that shot through as the left side of the offense cleared out and gave him a lane.
Now Graydon Hogg, second-year pro out of the University at Albany. Now to another Albany product, Connor Fields, now to Williams. Shooting on the run, that goes wide. Grabbed by Fields, shooting, that one whistles wide of the net. And that's a shot clock violation. 16 seconds remaining on the Philadelphia power play. As Eric Fennell takes the feed. 7th season in the National Lacrosse League out of St. Catharines, Ontario. Up top to O'Neill. Back near side, Rezaterets to O'Neill. Rochester back at even strength. Rezaterets feeds it down low. Taken there, Leclerc looks, shoots. That hit a pile of Knighthawks in front. Grabbed by Fennell. Fennell driving in. One hands it back up top. Reared in the shot. What a save by Hartley.
Yes, a lot of the saves that you saw last week against San Diego, just so many beautiful saves by Rylan Hartley. We mentioned, we're kind of beating a dead horse here, but the fact that he's healthy now, you can see the full repertoire of Rylan Hartley and his skills as a goaltender.
Rochester now, Lanchbury. Up top, Fields, fakes, feeds it behind the net, the dunk, he scored! Graydon Hogg.
We mentioned at the top, Connor Fields is known for goal scoring, but he is just as skilled as a passer. He's got such great vision. And as he was setting up, everybody was closing. Watch the defense closing him as if he's shooting, and they leave Hogg all alone back behind the cage for a beautiful air gate-esque goal. It's kind of like a mid-level air gate there. He didn't go over the top, he went through the side.
Air Hogg?
Air Hogg.
Face-off win. Rowlett will give it back. Over to Corbeil. Crosses the timeline. And he'll feed it on ahead as Philadelphia now will set up their offense. 5-1 Rochester, 50 seconds to go as Young. Drop past Rezaterets. Back over on the far side. Roll back to Fennell, spin move. Over to Young, shooting, that hit a man in front of the net. Here come the Knighthawks in transition. As Pacino puts on the brakes. Look, shooting stick save. Damude. And Pace will pick it up for Philadelphia. Damude had a stick trapped between his legs and still made that save. And a timeout call by Philadelphia with 16.6 to go.
Yeah, Damude kept coming off the floor, signaling to the bench, so I don't know if he's the one that initiated that timeout or he knew they were going to call a timeout, but it was strange because the first time when you see a goaltender run off the field like that, usually the first sign is a penalty. I looked at each official and not one official had no signal for a penalty there, so a timeout for the Wings. So you take a look at the roster turnover for Rochester. Not a whole lot. Curtis Knight, Turner Evans depart the offense. Zed Williams coming in there. Jeremy Thompson, as we mentioned. And Adam Thistlethwaite is their draft pick coming in, playing on defense. And he's a 6'1", 190-pound product out of Albany. As we mentioned, there's a lot of Albany Great Danes on this team. On the other side, a lot of roster turnover for the Philadelphia Wings. We talked about Fennell, Cameron coming into this, but take a look at these departures. You've got Mitch Jones, who's an elite goal scorer. Mitch DeSanu, who is a multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year. Connor Sellers, Malcolm, Shane Simpson. Those are a lot of big losses, and you mentioned that Mitch Jones. Mitch Jones and Joe Resiteritz worked so well together with his Philadelphia Wings team, and I think it was that Adam Levy had mentioned that between the two of them, they had assisted on each other's, like over 65% of each other's goals. So that's a lot of great connection that you're now losing because Jones went to the Desert Dogs.
You take a look at Fennell, that's one of the players they're counting on to fill that leadership void left by Jones.
Yeah, and Fennell, a former first-round draft pick of the original Rochester Knighthawks, played in this building for a couple years as a Nighthawk.
Down to 2 seconds. Grabbed by Resiteritz, and the shot clock and game clock expire. 5-1 Rochester. Dominating first quarter by the Knighthawks. You're watching the National Lacrosse League. The Knighthawks take on cross-state rivals, the Buffalo Bandits, and celebrate Chopper's birthday. All on Saturday, January 10th. For tickets, scan the QR code on your screen or visit RochesterKnighthawks.com. What a game that's going to be. The two Western New York rivals, Buffalo, Rochester. Man, that rivalry goes so far back, and Buffalo's had the best of the Knighthawks, but this year, Rochester kind of feeling good about their chances.
The three-time champs are not as strong as they've looked in the last couple of years. Not saying that they're not still a championship caliber team, but it's going to be a more even battled team, as a lot of people think that this Rochester Knighthawks team can be one of the top 2 or 3, at worst 4 teams in the NLL. And the Bandits, well, they're the Bandits. They're three-time champs. You got to respect them at every single turn until somebody else beats them. They are the man.
That shot goes out of play, and it'll be Rochester ball. Opening minutes, second quarter, 5-1 Rochester. Yeah. You take a look, 5+ goals in 3 of 5 quarters to start the season.
Yeah, this is a team that's just going to put up a lot of points throughout the season.
Well, as Ryan Smith said, it's a family-style offense. Everybody eats.
That was a great quote this morning after shoot-around, and we were asking him about how unselfish this team was. And when he said family-style offense, I thought, isn't that the theme of the season for the Rochester Knighthawks?
Over now, near side. Sinfield looking, shooting. He's one of the good young players that head coach Ian Rubel pointed out, played in Snake Island. And he's a great young star on this Philadelphia team.
Yeah, this Philadelphia team, they've got a good mix of veterans, a good mix of young guys, and they just got to be able to put it together in year 2 under Ian Rubel.
Lansbury drops it. Shot by Hogg, denied by Damude. McCannell picks it up. Here come the Wings in transition. Charging down the floor, shooting, and off the left shoulder of Hartley, but Fennell's there to pick up the rebound. Fennell across the floor on the far side. Back near side into the stick of Fennell. Fennell testing the Rochester defense, feeds it over to O'Neal. O'Neal shoved to the outside by Pacino. Back across on the far side. Grabbed there by LeClaire. O'Neal shooting, and that bouncer is stopped. And fired down the floor by Hartley, and that one's picked off by Patton.
Yeah, Hartley got a little bit too excited on that bust out as Taylor Jensen got all the way down the field, but Hartley misfired it and turns it back over to the Wings.
Well, Philadelphia will go back on the attack. Shot from the outside by Young. That's deflected into the far corner, and it's scooped up by Chad Tutton of Rochester.
The Knighthawks have done a really good job of blocking shots at the point of attack in this game so far.
Field setting up on the far wing. .12-13 to go here in the second. McConvey shooting, stick save by Damude. He's gonna loft it down the floor. Here come the Wings in transition.
Delayed penalty on Connor Fields coming up.
Drop pass to Fennell, joined there by Resiteritz.
Mitchell Armstrong is coming off a little bit injured on the mix-up with Connor Fields.
Young looking, feeds it down low. Back up top to Reardon, to O'Neal, who cuts across. Now shooting, that's deflected wide. Yeah, that's a shot clock violation, so Philadelphia will go on the power play as we wait for the announcement of the call on Connor Fields.
Rochester number 10, 2 minutes slashing.
So a slash call on Connor Fields, and as he was going over, he's saying, hey, they keep slashing me, you haven't called anything. But he got his money's worth on Mitchell Armstrong, and Armstrong came off and he was visibly shaken up on the slash by Fields. So Connor Fields will be in the sin bin for 2 minutes and give Philadelphia another opportunity on the power play to try to chip into this advantage by the Knighthawks.
Fed over, Resiteritz. Up top, O'Neal. Back, Resiteritz. O'Neal. Fed down low. Back to O'Neal. Fed down low. Fennell. Cross crease feed. He scores. What a pretty play on the power play. And LeClaire bangs it home. It's 5-2.
What a well-executed power play goal by the Philly Wings right there. They had the ball hot the entire time. A little tic-tac-toe to the bottom. You see O'Neal up top, gets it down low to Fennell, and Fennell with the cross-crease pass. They get Hartley out of position. Take a look at that, just beautiful. Look at that wide open net for LeClaire. Just so well done on that power play unit. Team high 5 assists for LeClaire last week. and he gets the goal. And he's another one of those guys right now. And he played his first season in Colorado. He's been to Philadelphia ever since. He is a great young player for this Wings team, and we get an over and back as we're back to full strength. And the officials are going to talk about this. So it will be Rochester ball. It was an inadvertent whistle because it was off the face-off.
Let's go down to Griffin for more on LeClaire.
Yeah, Ripper, Sam LeClaire is a guy over the last 4 years. We've seen his points per game continue to rise, and this entire coaching staff is so high on what he can bring to this offense, and you saw it on full display. If he's this main, almost distributor of the offense, that could be really critical for the Wings moving forward.
Thanks a lot, Griffin. Zed Williams, who opened the scoring for Rochester, now to Lanchbury. Over to McConvey. Back to Lanchbury. Down low, Williams. Williams, spin move, in on goal, the shot. Damude makes the save. What a pretty move by Zed Williams.
Yeah, the right side of the offense with Smith, Williams, and Lanchbury. They're running a little triangle on the offense and just clearing through and try to sneak that one by Damude.
Shoved to the outside was Rezaterets. Now fed in front, wide open in front, and Hartley with a great save.
Yeah, you just got that chicken wing out there on that ball to knock it away as that shot was coming in right under the goal post. So take a look at this again, and point blank range by Burkhoff, and Hartley was there to knock it away with the arm save.
Sinfield now over to O'Neill. Looking, shooting, and Hartley deflects that into the far corner. Thistlethwaite going after it, trying to tie up his man, and one-handed over to O'Neill. O'Neill crosses up Rezaterets with that pass, but the Wings are able to corral it as it's fed over to Fennell. Sinfield, 29 in white. Rezaterets, Fennell, that shot is deflected wide. And that one went out of play. It'll be Wings possession when we come back. Philadelphia with the last goal, a power play marker, but Rylan Hartley's been tough to beat, only allowing 2 goals so far. 9:20 left here in the second quarter. You're watching the National Lacrosse League.
The National Lacrosse League makes its return to Edmonton on January 16th as the Georgia Swarm match up against the Calgary Roughnecks in the second ever NLL Unboxed Series game. We want you to help bring the energy and excitement to Edmonton for a night to remember. Lyle Thompson and the Swarm, Tanner Cook and the Roughnecks. It's the 2026 NLL Unboxed Series game, Friday, January 16th. Get tickets today.
This is the moment you waited all week for. It's Friday night. Whether you're at home or out on the town, it all starts here.
No, he didn't!
The weekend starts here.
Oh, what a move!
With NLL Friday night on TSN.
The NLL returns to Edmonton as Lyle Thompson and the Swarm host the Roughnecks for the league's second annual NLL Unboxed Series event. Head to Ticketmaster.ca to get your tickets now. Here's a young Rochester Knighthawks fan enjoying the game. 5-2 Rochester. The Wings trying to chip away at this deficit as O'Neill driving, shooting, and it goes over the top of the net as he crashes over the top of Taylor Jensen.
It looks like he lost the handle of that ball right before he took the shot and did not get the ball coming out clean of his stick.
Pacino over now to Waters, who will flip it to Ryan Smith. Smith gets it back from Fields. Now Waters. He'll hand it off to Lansbury, who will quarterback this offense. Now over to Fields. Fields trying to get away from Burkhoff. Spin move. Now spins back to his left over. Lansbury shoots and just misses wide of the net. That one bounces across midfield. Burkhoff with a second chance of the game, and this time he buries it.
So the long rebound off the Lansbury shot ricochets off, and Dustin Burkhoff dusts everybody to pick up that loose ball and get that one-on-one opportunity. See, look how far that ball ricochets out. But Burkhoff had released already, knowing that ball was going to take a long bounce off the boards, and does a great job of scooping up that ball and staying ahead of the defense and finding that open spot against Hartley, who's been outstanding so far tonight. And a procedure on Jeremy Thompson, it'll be Wings ball.
That's a 9th face-off win and 10 opportunities for Rowlett.
Yeah, these first 6 quarters for Jeremy Thompson have been a struggle. He's only got 3 face-off wins total.
Down the floor now to Pacino. Grabs it out of the air. Scores! Number 2 for Jake Pacino.
We mentioned earlier that Pacino's game has evolved and has made him a better transition player so far this season. 2 goals in the first half for the second-year pro out of Liverpool, New York, which is about an hour and a half east of Rochester. And Hartley with that long outlet pass. He loves these long outlet passes. Look at that scoop. Great scoop by Pacino. Takes that right under the left arm of Nick Daymood for the goal.
2 goals for Pacino as we take a look now at Nick Rowlett.
Yeah, Nick Rowlett has been outstanding coming back from injury. He's a guy that's a young guy in this league. He was 11 of 19 last week at the face-off X, and now he is 9 of 10 here tonight.
8 minutes to go. Between the legs shot, and O'Neill's denied. Now here we go again. Medeiros.
Doesn't have the numbers.
Yeah, Rochester trying to push the pace in transition. Medeiros to Fields. Over now to Lansbury as they'll change up personnel. Fed in front, Smith shooting. Nice save by Daymood, who got that right arm up.
Yeah, Smith took that one off stick to the left. But Daymood was right there to track that one and make the save.
Corbeil leaves it off for Rezateritz. Rezateritz. Fed in front, and Reardon denied. Sliding save by Hartley. Over now to Tutton. Near side to Waters. Now to McConvey. Back over Lansbury. Here comes Lansbury. Shot in on goal, trying to get the reset. And the outlet pass taken into Rochester territory. 6:38 to go here in the second as Patton will give it over near side as it's scooped up. Up top now to Young. Far side to Rezateritz. Rezateritz watched there by Thompson. Sinfield. Now to O'Neill, driving up top. Back over, Rezateritz. And a big hit after the whistle. As Rezateritz was setting a screen in front. And that was Young who got knocked down on the turf.
Here's Fields with the shot.
That shot goes wide.
And we got a penalty coming up.
Behind the back shot, kick save, Daymood. And the rebound is corralled. And a penalty coming up to the Wings.
So Rochester will go on the power play for the first time tonight, as we'll get the official penalty call here.
Philadelphia number 24, minor penalty holding.
Actually be on 26, Isaiah Davis Allen on the penalty.
So Rochester on the power play. Over now near side to Smith. Now to Connor Fields. Fed over, the shot, he scores! Ryan Smith.
Ryan Smith with a power play goal. He was so deadly on the power play last year. 20 goals on the power play for the newly minted alternate captain of the Rochester Knighthawks. And the Knighthawks, they're very efficient on the power play last season, and their first opportunity tonight. Take a look at this again. You see the Connor Fields with a dump off and just a couple dekes by Ryan Smith, and he shows high and then he goes hip high for that power play goal. So each team now has a power play goal, and the Knighthawks are back up by 4.
7-3 Rochester. Off the face-off, Burkhoff driving in on goal, drives a double team, and he's knocked down to the carpet. Over now to Thompson. Near side, Lansbury. Left up top, fed in front as Fields faked that shot and crossed up the man in front, and Waters off his stick over to Fields. 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Shot that hit the crossbar. Lansbury picks it up.
Lansbury wants him to slow down and reset.
Over now to Zed Williams. Now to Fields, shooting! Damude the save. Loose ball, that one is played on ahead. Going after it is Hartley Gillies, and Hartley takes a bump. Ball's free at midfield. Davis Allen going after it. Hogg tried to knock it away, but Davis Allen will feed it over to Rezaterets. Now to Reardon, to Fennell. Fennell one-hands it up top to Reardon. Young gives it over to Reardon. Now to Fennell, to Sinfield. Over now, Rezaterets shooting, and Hartley sliding out to make the stop. Loose ball picked up by Ian Lord. Here comes Ian Lord. He scored a goal last game. And he'll flip it over to McConvey. A lot of his teammates are joking he's on pace for 18.
Well, this Knighthawks team would love if Ian Lord ends the season with 18 goals.
Lansbury driving, shooting, skims off the top of the crossbar. Grabbed by Smith, back to Lansbury. Over now on the far boards to Fields. Fields up top, gives it, Lansbury shooting, kick save,
Ooh.
And it rolled in behind Damude, who reaches out to keep it out. .324 to go. We'd like to take a moment to remember Noah Snyder, the stepson of Nighthawk Zed Williams. Snyder passed away tragically in a car crash on September 5th. Noah was a member of the Haudenosaunee Nationals U20 men's team and the Marquette Warriors. We extend our deepest condolences to Noah's family, friends, teammates, and the broader Haudenosaunee community.
It is indeed lower, right?
Coming up next on The Game Halftime, Griffin will be joined by Seneca Nation President J. Conrad Seneca. He'll also talk to the star of the first half. Plus, first half analysis and more coming up on The Game Halftime.
Not positive.
Rezaterets back over near side. Sinfield looking, shoved to the outside by Thompson. Shot, that goes off the right shoulder of Hartley. Grabbed now by Leclerc. Fennell getting open in front, he scores! Eric Fennell.
Fennell, one of the best off-ball players in this league, and he creates that scoring opportunity with his off-ball movement and gets himself right in front of the goal. What you don't see right here is just a beautiful backdoor cut. He beats Brad Gillies, gets one-on-one with Hartley, and buries that one in the back of the net. He had 2 goals last week in his Philadelphia debut. We mentioned Fennell. He started off his career with the original Rochester Knighthawks in 2018. Played for the Halifax Thunderbirds, split last season between the Albany Firewolves and the Ottawa Black Bears, and then came over to Philadelphia this year, as we mentioned, because he wants to come set screens for Brendan O'Neill. But they also want him to score too, and he did just that right there.
That was a typical Eric Fennell goal. Hard work, gets himself open, puts him in a great position to score.
Yeah, that's what he's excelled at throughout his career, no matter where he's been.
Fed over now to Connor Fields, and that's a shot clock violation. 7-4 right now in favor of Rochester. As Rezaterets gives it to Reardon. Reardon feeds it down low. Sinfield looking, charging in on goal, and shoots it over the top of the net. Here comes Pacino. He's got 2 goals already. Pacino across center. Gets by 1. Over now to Medeiros with a minute to go here in the first half. Now to Lansbury. Looking in front. Gives it back now. Waters fires from the outside. That one goes wide of the net. And here come the Wings with an opportunity. Patton in on goal, the shot, and Hartley makes the save.
Yeah, credit Taylor Jensen. He came screaming out of the front door on that one as well, and just gave a little bit of a pop that just set the timing off just a little bit on that shot opportunity.
Fed over now, Lansbury can't corral it. It's grabbed by the Wings again. Here comes Corbeil. Corbeil feeds it on ahead. And that one is interrupted there as Foley would have had a breakaway, but a great play to knock it away by Thomas McConvey.
David coming off the field for an extra attacker here.
We're down to 10 seconds here in the first half. O'Neill back up top to Jan Rezaterets, shooting over the top, save, rebound, a pile up. Fennell can't get the shot off as the horn sounds. So Rochester with a 7-4 lead. And Rylan Hartley with a huge save right before the end of the second quarter. as the shot by Reza Terrence and a huge save by Hartley. You're watching the National Lacrosse League.
Am I? Hi. I don't believe so, no. If you could just move over a little bit, thank you.
You come around and...
Yes, or just to the side.
Coaches, no nonsense, all business. Coaches never go off the JV.
And welcome back to the Blue Cross Arena. Griffin Della Penna here with you alongside President Jay Conrad Seneca. What an amazing time for you. First game here as an owner. When did the initial conversation start where you wanted to purchase the Rochester Knighthawks?
That was probably back in May when we first got approached with the opportunity, and so we talked about it with the commissioner, and we just started working it from there, and fortunate to be able to close it in quick fashion, you know, by August. And so it's exciting, and you know, everybody's done such a great job here with the Knighthawks. Dan Carey, phenomenal job in such a short window of time to be able to be prepared to do what's going on tonight. You know, it's awesome.
When you were approached with that opportunity, why was it the right move for Seneca Nation when you saw this opportunity to move forward with it?
Well, when we first got approached, it was being a part of a group. And so as we talked about and our business council sat and discussed it, I thought it's best if we're in control of our own destiny, if we are 100% owner rather than partial owner. And so that's the direction we went. And we looked at the opportunity, and why not? Who better than the Seneca Nation to own a lacrosse team? And I tell you what, it's a lacrosse to us, a medicine game. It's a bridge between people and communities, and that's what it's doing, you know, and that's why we look at it.
When I've talked to players, coaches, management, everybody has been so excited about this opportunity with the investments that have also been made in this. How prepared were you for this opportunity and really giving every resource possible to make the Knighthawks successful?
Yeah, you know, being prepared for something like this, probably not, because it's kind of outside of our box. But we have a company called Seneca Holdings. Jeff Ellis and that board helped us greatly to be able to provide the opportunity to close this deal, to be at the table negotiating. And, you know, it's a team effort from everybody from our tribal council leadership to Seneca Holdings and, you know, Dan Carey and the organization.
Last one here for you. First game in. What does the future look like for this partnership with Seneca Nation and the Rochester Knighthawks moving forward?
You know, here we are in our Aboriginal territory, you know, and I think expanding our brand, expanding our economic footprint in this region, that's what we want to do. We want to be a part of the community and be a contributor and a partner here in the future successes of Rochester, New York.
Thank you very much for your time here, President Seneca. We'll be back here in just a minute for our halftime report as Ripper and Brennan will break down the first half up in the booth.
Welcome back to the Halftime Report. Alongside Brendan McDaniels, I'm Craig Rubzinski. A night to celebrate the Creators game and the ownership of the Seneca Nation, and a lot to cheer about if you're a Rochester Knighthawks fan. 7-4 here at halftime.
Yeah, the Knighthawks came out firing in the first quarter. They got up by 4. They lead by 3 here at halftime. Philadelphia's gotten a couple one-on-one opportunities against Ryland Hartley. Other than that, it has been majority Knighthawks here in the first half.
Yeah, Rochester really came out firing as we take a look at the first half.
They
highlights.
certainly did, and they came off strong just where they left off against San Diego. And you see the pinpoint passing, Connor Fields with the goal right there, and then you see off the rebound, Connor Fields off the McConvey miss, and Connor Fields feeds down low to Graydon Hogg for the air hog. Then Jake Pacino, that is one of his 2 goals in transition. Then Ryan Smith on the power play. And the Rochester Knighthawks, they talked about a family-style offense, and we've certainly seen that tonight as we take a look at our first half statistics. Rochester with 7 more shots on goal. Faceoffs won. That is another thing, that the score is a lot different than what the faceoffs are. Usually when you're dominating faceoffs, you're dominating the scoreboard. So the second week in a row, we've seen the complete opposite of that. Loose balls in favor of Philadelphia. Both teams have each a power play goal, but Rochester leads on the scoreboard 7-4.
Well, I know that Philadelphia was very aware of Rochester's firepower, and we've seen it come to fruition here in the first half. 7-4 Rochester. As we take a look at the smoke dance, as you're watching the National Lacrosse League.
athletes. Reliable with their hair and germs. That's the exact best I've ever.
Welcome back to the Blue Cross Arena, 7-4 Rochester. And last night in Oshawa, you take a look at the highlights. Game tied 5-5 after 3, and what a game it was. Albany actually led 4-1. 3 goals by Vancouver to start the 4th. Jesse King and Curtis Dixon scored just 50 seconds apart, followed by Marcus Claridge with 5 minutes left. Vancouver won 8-6, improving to 1-1, while Oshawa fell to 1-3. Take a look now around the National Lacrosse League.
Yeah, you see Georgia and Saskatchewan there tied 1-1. That is early going, 8 minutes left in the first quarter. In Ottawa at Las Vegas, later tonight, Jeff Teat with 14 points, 4th in the National Lacrosse League. But how about Oshawa? Oshawa's defense has been playing great. They've been giving up under 10 goals a game, but they've lost 3 in a row already.
I know. Like I said, I watched the game. It was 4-1, and Oshawa was rolling. And it was like a tale of 2 games. And Vancouver comes back, and a big win by Vancouver as the Rochester Knighthawks huddling around their netminder, Rylan Hartley, who has faced 22 shots and made 18 saves.
And 3 out of the 4 goals that Philadelphia has scored, they've been one-on-one opportunities against him as well.
Let's send it down to the floor. Griffin has Connor Fields.
Ripper, thank you. Connor, in the first half, 6 different goal scores in your 7 goals. How does that really exemplify what this offense is trying to do?
I just think it shows we love playing together as a unit. You know, it's selfless ball out here. It's whatever it takes to get the win. So I think we got a lot of threats on the field, and it shows.
Thank you, Fields. Good luck in the second half. Ripper?
Thanks a lot in that interview, the game interview, as Griffin talking to Connor Fields.
Yeah, you get the opportunity to hear from the reigning NLL MVP, and we talked about this family-style offense everybody eats, and Griffin mentioned 6 different goal scorers, and that's what makes this offense so dangerous is there's so many guys that can put the ball in the back of the net.
Grabbed there by Jake Pacino. 2 goals in the first half for Pacino. He had a goal last game.
And he had an assist today, too.
Behind the back shot by Williams is denied. And back away come the Philadelphia Wings. Opening moments of quarter number 3. As Young trying to get away from Thistlethwaite. Young takes it behind the net. Beautiful swim move to get away. Feeds it in front. The shot hit the crossbar. That one bounces up top. Pass is tracked down as O'Neill got it to Rezataritz. Rezataritz up top now. So O'Neill will feed it over on that far wing. Taken by Reardon to Young. Down low, Rezataritz backing his defender and shooting around the screen, and that one goes wide of the net. And it's intercepted now by Medeiros. Medeiros into the wing zone. He'll give it now to Fields, and Lanchbury will take the feed on the half wall. Lanchbury, Fields. Fields driving and shooting, and he missed wide of the net. And Waters trying to keep it in. He does. Ricochets off the end glass. And Damude will feed it over. Fields was tied up. He still is at the side of the net. There's a penalty coming up to Philadelphia as Corbeil will head to the box.
Yeah, it's going to be a cross check on Corbeil in the back end of that play.
Philadelphia minor penalty number 16 is 2 minutes illegal cross check.
So the captain will go into the box. For the Knighthawks, they're 1-1 on the power play, and see this in the back end right there as Connor Fields took one in the chops.
Fields now into the near corner. McConvey is to work it around to Fields.
Yeah, we have an illegal screen, so the ball will be turned over to the wings.
Battling for it. Patton somehow got out of the scrum unscathed and gets it over now on the far wing. O'Neill taking on Thompson. Fakes it, spin move, looking, shooting, low shot, and Hartley makes the save. Crossing the timeline, Lansbury.
So keep an eye on Ryan Smith. He's the guy that they like to look for on these power plays.
Fed over now to Hogg. Up top, Connor Fields. Fed in from McConvey, wide open, the low shot, left pad stop, Damude.
Great execution by the Knighthawks, but Damude is there to drop and close up the 5-hole and not allow that one to go in.
Wagner got it across the timeline, but he's stripped. And Young comes in, and that's an over and back violation. The Philadelphia bench is yelling that it was tapped across by Rochester.
There was also a trip on Pacino too that they didn't call, so.
As Fields now to McConvey. To Smith, over to Williams. Fields looking, shooting, scores! Connor Fields!
Rochester now 2 for 2 on the power play. It's the second power play goal of the night for the Knighthawks. And the MVP right from that sweet spot. He loves this spot on the floor right here. He gets the pass from Ryan Smith. It's one, like I said, it's one of his favorite places to shoot. And when he gets that opening and gets a lane to shoot, he is so deadly with that shot. His second goal of the night, his 5th point so far this evening.
Connor Fields, 7th season in the National Lacrosse League. Came over in a trade with Las Vegas along with Riley Hutchcraft. Seems like ages ago they pulled off that trade.
You know, what a great trade it was by Dan Carey to get the cornerstone of this Rochester franchise secured, because Connor Fields had just come off a great playoff run with the Buffalo Bandits and was left wide open in the expansion draft as Hartley makes another save. And Connor Fields will tell you he was a little upset that Buffalo left him exposed in that expansion draft. And he's an East Coast guy. He lives in suburban Buffalo. He's born and raised in East Amherst, right outside of Buffalo. And he was very happy to get the opportunity to come back east.
And Zed Williams with his 2nd of the game as he buries the feed from Connor Fields.
Zed Williams right on the doorstep. Right there on the goal for the Rochester Knighthawks. And we didn't really talk a lot about Zed Williams last week, but he's making his presence known here in his first game for the Knighthawks, and they're going to throw the challenge flag out here, and I think that was a clean goal. They tried to challenge one a little bit earlier against Connor Fields. They didn't do it in time.
So the thing is now, this year, the National Lacrosse League has a new cloud-based video replay system, and it makes it a lot easier and faster for teams to review the play. So both teams have iPads on their bench, and they can very quickly look and challenge the play. But it's also available to the officials as well. So the officials no longer have to ask for different replay angles. They have access to all of the angles, and they can literally just tap and press, and they have the replays that they're looking for.
And you can see that over the referee's shoulders when you talk about having that control, and they have to sync 8 cameras all at once, and both benches are able to see all the same thing. So when replays or challenges happen like this, they're going to be able to get everything that they need in order to make sure they've got the best views possible to check these replays.
Let's go downstairs to Griffin.
Yeah, guys, I'm right here on the Wings bench, and a little bit of what they're mentioning is that built-in almost timeout on the challenge just gives them a second to breathe. As this Rochester team coming out of the break, a lot of the conversations, at least defensively, are saying, hey, we have to get back and make sure that we're sorting things a little bit better, because we're getting a lot of clean looks on the other end from Rochester that we didn't necessarily see a whole lot of in the first.
Well, the goal is still under review. If it does count, if it is upheld, Zed Williams will have his second goal of the game.
Yeah, you see the officials right there, and they're looking at a couple different angles of this, and they're taking a long time of this. So obviously this is not clear cut, as they're really trying to zero in on whether Zed Williams was in the crease or not. So we're going to take a look at this as well and see if we can see where Zed Williams' feet are. And right there, he's clear. He's clear. And when does it? And there you go. It's a good goal. His feet were clear. So great job of Zed Williams tiptoeing that goal crease, and Ian Rubel's watching the replay on the Jumbotron as he still doesn't think that that was a clean goal. But the only thing I can think of is that if Rubel thought that Zed Williams went in the crease prior to having the ball. So Zed Williams gets his second. Connor Fields assists on another goal. Here's McConvey coming in.
And now Philadelphia in transition, trailing 9-4.
Rochester never trailed last week. They have not trailed this week. So they're in quarter number 7, where they have not trailed at all.
Pretty impressive by the Rochester Knighthawks offense and defense, as Reza Territz thought he had it, and it's kept in and just fired wide of the goal. And that's a shot clock violation.
Yeah, it'd be a violation, and Rochester have possession and a 5-goal advantage.
Fed in front, over the top of the net is the shot by Smith. And still trying to perfect that. Lanchbury to Smith, and now here come the Wings, the shot, and Hartley with a big stop. Now here comes Pacino.
He's got some numbers if he wants it. He's gonna slow it down. Last possession, they were face guarding Connor Fields. We'll see if they do it on this possession.
Waters from the right wing, back near side to Fields. Now to Zed Williams, looking for the hat trick. Fed over to Hogg, driving the shot, and he's denied, and he takes a shot.
Oh. Yeah, they called something down there.
Well, McCannell gave him a little shot, a little tap on the head, like, hey, sorry about that. As Graydon Hogg with a big drive to the crease. You're watching the National Lacrosse League.
The National Lacrosse League makes its return to Edmonton on January 16th as the Georgia Swarm match up against the Calgary Roughnecks in the second ever NLL Unboxed Series game. We want you to help bring the energy and excitement to Edmonton for a night to remember. Lyle Thompson and the Swarm, Tanner Cook and the Roughnecks, It's the 2026 NLL Unbox Series game, Friday, January 16th. Get tickets today.
This is the moment you waited all week for. It's Friday night. Whether you're at home or out on the town, it all starts here.
No, he didn't!
The weekend starts here
Oh, what a move!
with NLL Friday night on TSN.
Welcome back to Rochester, New York. 9-4 is our score as the Rochester Knighthawks with a 5-goal lead here in quarter number 3. Take a look at the note. The game in San Diego did not allow a goal for 25 consecutive minutes in the second half tonight. No goals in the second half.
Yeah, we're about 5.5 minutes in, so it's a little bit of a different sample size than what we saw last week, but we saw this defense really tighten up for Rochester in the second half last week, and that's a second half where they didn't really get Matt Gilray a lot of playing time because he got dinged up a little bit in the first half. So they did that all without Matt Gilray.
Young wanted to shoot, gives it up top. Here comes O'Neal. O'Neal to Reardon. Reardon being stood up by Coates. Fed across the shot, left glove stop by Hartley.
Back-to-back weeks, Hartley has had 2 really strong games.
Waters settling it on the half wall. Gives it down Lanchbury. Lanchbury against Corbeil. Near side to Fields. Fields trying to get free. Cuts across the top. Fields from his off wing. Lanchbury in front. Waters scores!
This offense for Rochester, they're just so unselfish. You see the beautiful ball movement by the Knighthawks. And this crowd loves it here in Rochester. Is the unselfish passing. Take a look at this again. Fields to Lanchbury to Waters. Just unselfish ball movement by the Knighthawks. And we mentioned it before. We were talking to Ryan Smith this morning after shoot around. He said it's really a family style offense. Everybody eats, and you know, it always sounds good in theory, but you got to think at some point that someone gets upset that they're not getting theirs. And Ryan Smith said, no, nobody on this offense cares if it's not our night. If I'm not shooting well and somebody else is, and we're scoring, we're winning, and we're out there having fun, that's the important thing. And he goes, Lanchbury thinks the same, Fields, McConvey, Zed Williams, Waters, Hogg, they all think the same way.
Fields shooting, that one's bounced wide of the net. Smith going after it. Grabs it on the half wall, feeds it in front to Fields. He's tied up, grabbed by McConvey, and bounced it across crease, and there's a shot clock violation.
And Craig, you saw that graphic that Rochester has 25 goals, which is the most in the National Lacrosse League. They've only played a game and a half. There are some teams that have played 4 games that have not scored 25 goals, and Rochester's done it in 6 quarters.
Picked off by Gilray. Little flip pass back to the captain, Dan Coates. They'll leave it now for Waters. Watch there by Corbeil. Waters scampering down the boards. He rolls it back for Williams. Williams trying to get away from Armstrong. And Armstrong on the back of Williams.
Yeah, we're going to get
they're going to face it off.
So I almost saw a tackle on Zed Williams, which is interesting because Zed Williams had a tryout with the Buffalo Bills at linebacker prior to last season. So you mentioned he's from the Seneca Nation down the Silver Creek area, about a 45 minutes south of Buffalo. You see Zed Williams, 6'3", 235 pounds, and he is a Mack truck.
He does have the nickname Zedzilla, because just how powerful of a force he is, and a rare face-off, and Jeremy Thompson wins that one.
Yeah, Thompson in the second half has played much better at the face-off X It seems like he's finally getting his sea legs here in this 2025-26 season.
Lanchbury in front, McConvey's shot, and Damu the save as he hung right with him and made the stop. Across midfield, Philadelphia with the odd man opportunity, and Patton stings the corner.
Crowd not liking that one. They thought a penalty should have been called on the wings, but Liam Patton in transition gets that one up and in his 8th season from Guelph. And you see there's still that kind of little helter-skelter there as guys coming on and off the field, and Patton is able to notice that, hey, wait, nobody here is set up. I've got an open opportunity to shoot.
Rowlett with the face-off win as Philadelphia will go back on the offense. 10-5 is our score. That was the first goal of the second half for Philadelphia. Reardon trying to clear out traffic for O'Neill. Now Rezzaterets spinning away. He has it knocked away, but grabbed by Young, the shot, and that one goes wide of the net. Bounces off the far glass. That was a shot clock violation. As Lanchbury will take over. 4th season out of Burlington, Ontario. Fields will skip it across. Lanchbury looking in front. Williams the shot, and Damu the save.
It's a great backdoor cut by Zed Williams. And Lanchbury with a pinpoint pass.
And Lanchbury just got hip checked right at center. And now he gets tied up.
Lanchbury and O'Neill. And now they're going to call a penalty on Lanchbury. A little frustration.
O'Neill. Now over to Young. Back to O'Neill. To Fennell. Fed across the shot. That one is blocked by Ian Lord as Rezzaterets let it go.
Yeah, Ian Lord soaked that one up. He had 37 block shots last year, and Lanchbury is going to go to the penalty box as they catch him on the retaliation.
So a roughing penalty handed out.
So here's the hip check on Lanchbury. And there's no call on that one. But then Lanchbury retaliated after that, and that's what the call was.
Philly on their 3rd power play. Reardon, O'Neill shooting, save, rebound. It's batted over to Fennell as Reardon knocked it over. Now Reardon to O'Neill. O'Neill up top. Rezzaterets back to O'Neill. Rezzaterets shooting. That one goes wide, and it's interesting to hear a head coach say Brendan O'Neill's got to be more selfish and shoot the ball more. Over now, Reardon shoots and scores, and this time O'Neill picks up an assist.
So Blaze Reardon gets the power play goal. His return to his hometown. He's a native of Fairport, which is about 15 minutes from here. Depends on how fast you drive. Might be a little bit shorter than that.
A little longer if I'm driving.
Shorter if I'm driving. You see O'Neill with it, fakes the shot and gives the dump off to Blaze Reardon, who plays goalie in the outdoor game. And I'll tell you, and Craig, this is one of my favorite stories. When I was covering high school lacrosse, Blaze Reardon, when he played for Fairport High School, was playing Orchard Park in the state lacrosse tournament, and Blaze Reardon shut out Orchard Park, who had averaged nearly 20 goals per game in the state playoffs.
That's incredible. Reardon, his first goal of the year. 5-time goalie of the year in the PLL.
Yeah, he's one of the best that comes, and he's a great shooter in the indoor game because he knows what goalies are thinking.
And that's exactly what Ian Rubel said. I've got 2 guys that grew up playing goalie. I've got Blaze Reardon and Eric Fennell.
Yeah, Fennell is right. Fennell played goalie too.
And that shot is knocked away by Hartley.
Get Fennell up in St. Catharines, right across the border from Buffalo.
Here comes Young. Young looking, trying to get away from Jensen, fed across O'Neal. A great play to grab that one. Shot, save, rebound, and he missed wide. Pacino jumping up to try to grab it. Fennell trying to scoop it up in the far corner. He draws the double team, knocked off the ball, and in to scoop it up is Pacino.
Yeah, Pacino's had a nice night so far on the defensive end as well as in transition as well.
Over now on the far side, Lanchbury. Smith knocked his man out of the way, and a great seal, and he's knocked down from behind. That's going to be a loose ball push. Ten to 6 is our score. Go to the young bright stars, Brennan O'Neal.
Yeah, Brennan O'Neal is just outstanding. We talk about that he needs to be a little bit more selfish. Take a look at this shot. Hartley makes the save off the mark, and the Knighthawks take a 4-goal lead.
Welcome back to the Blue Cross Arena. 10 to 6 in favor of the Rochester Knighthawks. And the NLL returns to Edmonton as Lyle Thompson and the Swarm host the Roughnecks for the league's second annual NLL Unbox Series event. Head to Ticketmaster.ca to get your tickets now. Little old school Rochester Knighthawks logo there.
Oh, the vintage, the teal and the purple. I love that look.
And Rochester with the ball is Graydon Hogg. Will feed it across. Grabbed there, Lanchbury. Lanchbury against Wagner, shooting around the screen. That one goes wide of the net. Grabbed off the near boards, and Burkhoff tried to clear it out of his own end. Flips it on over to the far side. And it's played on back now to O'Neal against Dan Coates. O'Neal up top to Reardon, to O'Neal. O'Neal getting away, shooting over the top, and that one goes wide of the net, but it's grabbed by Fennell, feeds it in front of the net. That pass too high for Rezaterich.
Yeah, I think Philadelphia, they're just trying to press a little bit too much. They need to get back into their offensive set and get some off-ball movement.
Back now to Fields. Shooting, he scores! Connor Fields with a hat trick.
Connor Fields, he now has 8 points tonight, 3 goals and 5 assists. He's really picking up where he left off, and we mentioned Connor Fields, 3 straight seasons with 110 points. Him and Dane Smith, the only players in National Lacrosse League history to accomplish that feat. Connor Fields 2 years ago had 120 points and over 150 loose balls. He was the first player since John Tavares in 2001 to do that.
That's elite company, to say the least.
You see tonight, you see the shooting, you see the feeding, the footwork. That's what made Connor Fields the MVP last season.
Over now near side. Taking there Rezaterets, trying to get away from Medeiros. Now fed over to Young. He misses wide of the net. And that one is
saved.
Yeah, it was kept in. As Sinfield did all he could, and he kept it in, but a shot clock violation, and Rochester now goes back on the offense as Connor Fields, who just scored his 3rd goal of the game, feeds it behind the net to McConvey. McConvey pops out, brings it across. Smith shooting off the left shoulder of Damude, who will scoop it on up. Damude on ahead, played across midfield, and they will slow it down as Corbeil will give it to O'Neill. Trying to get away from another youngster, Thistlethwaite, and it's fed in front to Fennell, the shot, and Hartley makes the save and covers up the rebound. Less than a minute remaining here in quarter 3, 11-6 Rochester. Flip pass Lanchbury. The shot, and Damude makes the save. As it's played across midfield. 36 seconds to go here. Young down the near boards, Rezaterets. Drop pass, Sinfield. Driving in on goal, the shot knocked away by Hartley, and it's grabbed now by Gilray.
26 saves by Rylan Hartley as he comes off the bench, and they're going to put the extra attacker on for the final play of the 3rd quarter.
Fields to Lanchbury, back to Fields. We're down to 6 seconds. Lanchbury from the right wing. Try to feed it in the slot. Open net down the other end of the floor. And the shot, he scores.
No,
but
he didn't get it off in time.
Off.
Yeah, the clock expired. The ball has to cross the goal before the clock expires, and that did not happen, so no goal. So Rochester will enter the 4th quarter on an 11-6 advantage. The MVP, Connor Fields, with his 3rd of the night, pacing the Knighthawks. We'll be back right after this. You're watching the National Lacrosse League.
Welcome to Blue Cross Arena as the Knighthawks currently up by 5, and in large part due to the play in between the pipes from Rylan Hartley as he's coming off that 59 save performance at San Diego and continuing it here today. Head coach Mike Hayson mentioned one of the reasons why is he wasn't given the keys to the castle this year, instead as previous years past. due to some of those injuries, it was open competition entering training camp, as we haven't seen that in recent years. He's had to really earn every start thus far, and that relationship that he has with Riley Hutchcraft is also very, very supportive, regardless of who's getting time on the field.
Thanks a lot, Griffin. One of the best 1-2 punches in goal in the entire National Lacrosse League.
Absolutely, and Riley Hutchcraft is one of the most unselfish guys you'll find.
And Connor Fields with his 4th of the night.
Just 20 seconds into the quarter, and Connor Fields with goal number 4, as now Rochester is doubling up Philadelphia 12-6. Take another look at this again. The pass up top. You see his defender was waiting for McConvey to come up and take a pick. Burkhoff kept looking off, waiting for the pick to come, and it came late. And Fields, as soon as he saw Burkhoff look away, he ripped that one.
Procedure call, and it'll be Wings ball. 12-6 in favor of the home team, the Rochester Knighthawks, who just a couple months ago didn't know if they'd be a home opener. And that shot by Fennell, he scores. Fennell with his 2nd goal of the contest.
So Fennell with his 2nd of the game, and we talk about his off-ball movement, and here nobody picks him up. Their Knighthawks are late to slide over and just kind of left Fennell wide open, and he's going to take advantage of that every single time. So a big mistake by the Knighthawks defense, and Fennell capitalizes.
And Rowlett with another face-off win. That's his 19th of the contest. Philadelphia trailing by 5. Resiteritz, Sinfield, fed in front of the net, he scores! And here come the Philadelphia Wings. Burkhoff with his 2nd.
So Burkhoff gets number 2 as he's left all alone in front of the Knighthawks goal crease. You see, he just slips his defender. You see, O'Neill finds Burkhoff right in front. I don't think that the Wings could believe how wide open Burkhoff was. Like, look at this. There's nobody even in the camera shot. Burkhoff slides in front of that goal and takes it behind Hartley for his 2nd of the night. So Brennan O'Neill, the 1st overall draft pick last year, 6'2", 230 pounds, out of Duke, Bayshore, New York native.
And Burkhoff with 2 goals. That was the 2nd time he was left wide open in front, but the last time Hartley made the big stop. Here comes Pacino off the feed from Thompson, who scooped up the loose ball. Pacino flip pass to Hogg. Hogg from the left wing up top to Fields. Near side, Lanchbury. Lanchbury behind the back feed to Williams. Across. Fields feeds it to Williams, who's looking for a hat trick. Williams. Flip pass in front. That one was too high for Lanchbury. Fields is held up by Patton, and that's going to be a shot clock violation. Connor Fields trying to take it away. Very nearly did, as Patton hanging on to that ball as Connor Fields is all over him. And now we've got
a moving screen on the back end by Pat Foley.
And now the Knighthawks down the other end of the floor. They score. Connor Fields with his 5th of the game.
Connor Fields doing Connor Fields things. He played defense. He rode Foley all the way down to the other end. He stayed on the field. Rochester got the loose ball back on the illegal screen. And Fields takes it himself for the goal as he's got that big smile on his face. 5 goals and 7 assists for Connor Fields, and he scored the last 3 for the Knighthawks.
Battle for it. Thompson has it. Gets it back now to Coach, who's going to have to hurry to avoid the 8-second call. And he does not.
So 5 goals between these two teams in the last 4 minutes.
O'Neal in front, Reardon, the shot, left glove stop by Hartley. Feeds it ahead now to Thompson. He'll slow it down and give it over to McConvey. McConvey with a goal and an assist tonight. Now to Waters, over to Smith. Back over McConvey, shot, whistles that one wide. It skips across midfield. And Rochester racing back to stop a transition opportunity. Still a lot of time left, 13-8 Knighthawks. Just over 12 to go. Played over to O'Neal. O'Neal spinning away, wants to get those hands free, shooting, and that's denied by Hartley, picked up by Tutton. Here comes Pacino. Pacino trying to go coast to coast, gets away from his defender, and he'll give it over to Lansbury.
Well, now they got to keep eyes on Pacino because he's a scoring threat tonight, already with 2 goals.
In the slot, the shot, and Hogg is denied as a right shoulder stop by Damude. And one of the alternate captains, Ryan Smith, said his job is no different, even though he's got a letter on his sweater. That pass is batted away.
He said he does get to make a couple more decisions in practice and on the road, but other than that, he's the same old guy doing the same old things.
Fields, Williams shooting, that one goes wide of the net. 9 seconds left on the shot clock, kept in by Fields, skips it over to Smith. Driving in on goal, that one's denied. Smith going after to try to grab the rebound, but that one is corralled and played on ahead to Corbeil. Corbeil across the timeline. He'll flip it on over. 3 titles with the Rush organization for Chris Corbeil. And he came into training camp 100% healthy, which is great news for the Wings and the NLL.
Yeah, Corbeil is just an excellent defensive player. He's an excellent leader on this Wings team as well. Jeremy Thompson for the Knighthawks was also on those 3 Rush championship teams.
Lansbury now setting it up, looking in front. Gives it over, McConvey shot, that's denied and it squirts wide of the net where it's picked up by Davis Allen. Across the timeline to Fennell, who's got 2 tonight. To Sinfield. Now to O'Neal. O'Neal driving in. Drop pass, Fennell shooting, and that's stopped by Hartley. Big hit in the near corner, or in the far corner, check that. As Thompson with a big bump. With a 5-goal lead, you're watching the National Lacrosse League.
Lacrosse League makes its return to Edmonton on January 16th as the Georgia Swarm match up against the Calgary Roughnecks in the 2nd ever NLL Unboxed Series game. We want you to help bring the energy and excitement to Edmonton for a night to remember. Lyle Thompson and the Swarm, Tanner Cook and the Roughnecks. It's the 2026 NLL Unboxed Series game, Friday, January 16th. Get tickets today.
This is the moment you waited all week for. It's Friday night. Whether you're at home or out on the town, it all starts here.
No, he didn't!
The weekend starts here with NLL Friday night on TSN.
The NLL on ESPN is brought to you by Kilo. Stay energized for every moment of NLL action with Kilo. Visit drinkkilo.com. By Hotel Planner. Travel smarter with exclusive NLL fan discounts at nll.hotelplanner.com. And by StubHub, your home for tickets to the speed and intensity of the NLL. It's 13-8 Rochester. Let's go to Griffin.
This is the time in the game where you would really love to see Brennan O'Neill contribute offensively. You'd hate to put too much pressure on a guy just in his sophomore season, but was second among rookies last year with 25 goals and 32 assists. Down by 4, face of the franchise, you need him here if you're Philly.
O'Neill, a great rookie season. Expecting big things out of number 34, and he's got the ball right now. Nice stutter step, getting free, shooting, and that one is knocked away. Here comes Dan Coates. And Coates is going to wait for the shot clock violation. He was not going to take on Brennan O'Neill.
Here's the all-rookie team from last year. Dyson Williams, he was your NLL Rookie of the Year last year. Will Johansson, transition player, Mike Robinson, amongst others. And O'Neill was #1 overall in the draft, and for a lot of the season, it was neck and neck with Williams and O'Neill for Rookie of the Year, and O'Neill just missed out on getting that award as he did have an outstanding freshman campaign.
Here comes Patton looking for his second, shooting, and Hartley with the save, and he's got it underneath him.
29 saves for Ryland Hartley.
McConvey shooting, that one hit the pipe. McConvey trying to get his own rebound. Oh, and McConvey is drilled into the boards, and now it's going to draw a lot of attention. McConvey's in there as well, as everyone's got a dance partner.
Yeah, McConvey really got pasted into the boards. And the officials are telling him, like, listen, we got it. Don't worry about it. We're going to make the call. And you see Pace just puts him right into the boards. So Alex Pace will go to the penalty box, and the Knighthawks will be on the power play.
And Rochester 2 for 2 as we take a look now at Alex Pace. Went to college at Brock.
The call on the floor is a 5-minute boarding major. That play is subject to automatic review.
They will review it.
Yeah, they're going to review this, but it's initially a potentially a 5-minute major for boarding. So this could be a huge swing here because Philly's been holding their ground here. You see Rubel shake his head. Corbeil's going to go over and chat with the officials, and Gilray's going to come run out and listen in on the conversation. You see the officials, they're reviewing what happened. We'll take a look at it again. And I don't think that this is malicious on the part of Alex Pace. As you watch Pace go over there, it looks like Pace was predominantly playing the ball and saw McConvey there, and I don't think the intent was to put him in the boards. But of course, that's my 2 cents. I don't know how much that means here.
Well, that's why they're taking a look at it to see if this is going to be upheld or if they will change it to the 2-minute variety.
I imagine this will be changed to a 2-minute penalty. Because the big thing to me is what is the intent? And it did not look like Pace. He didn't go out there with the intent to plaster his opponent onto the boards. But either way, Rochester will go on the power play. And they have been pretty successful on the power play so far. They're 2 for 2 tonight on the power play, as Connor Fields and Ryan Smith have the 2 power play goals for the Knighthawks.
Still waiting on the review of the Alex Pace hit. Pace, 6th year out of Halifax, Nova Scotia, former Brock Badger.
There's a lot of Brock Badgers on this Philadelphia Wings team. So it looks like we're going to get the official ruling here.
After reviewing the play, the call on the floor has been reduced to a 2-minute minor for boarding.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I don't think there was intent there to intentionally try to injure McConvey. You see McConvey, he's not happy about that call. I mean, McConvey's the only one in the building that felt that full force of that. So,
well, the good news is McConvey's now on the power play, and just look at his reaction.
He just says, what?
Rochester now on the power play, as Thomas McConvey will have to shift his emotions to playing offense here as he's clearing out someone in front. As it's picked up as McConvey's now pushed through the crease. And the shot by Smith is denied, and now Patton's going to pick up a penalty as McConvey is going to draw another penalty.
Well, you mentioned McConvey had to channel that frustration into the offensive end, and two number 12s go at it, and the number 12 in white's going to take the penalty here. So Rochester will have a 5-on-3 for a minute 39.
Philadelphia, number 12, as a 2-minute holding penalty, holding the attacking player in the crease.
So the hold there, and so you see Jensen's going to have the ball to start this off, and they're going to keep him back, as this will be a 4-on-3. It's really a 5-on-3, but it's 4 because Jensen's all the way in the back. And McConvey got popped again.
And the shot by Smith, he scores.
Second power play goal of the evening for Ryan Smith. And if you're on the penalty kill for any team playing Rochester this year, you have to know where Ryan Smith is at all times. He had 20 power play goals last season. And you see, he doesn't have a big opening right there, as Armstrong is late on the slide, and he puts it right over the left shoulder of Nick Damoud. So the penalty on Pace is released, and they still have a minute 43 left on Patton's penalty.
And Pacino comes up with a loose ball.
That's the 7th loose ball for Pacino tonight.
Coming off a great summer in the PLL, also with the Haudenosaunee, playing in the Sixes tournaments. Well, no surprise that he's off to a great start here. Lanchbury, Smith, behind the net, Williams, the dunk attempt, and a crease violation as he got stood up.
Yeah, there's not a lot of times that Zed Williams is going to not win that power matchup, but that time he doesn't. And Philadelphia has an opportunity to maybe try to get a shorty here to try to get one of these back.
O'Neal, watched there by Jensen. Rochester 3 for 3, Philly 2 for 3 tonight. Fed in the slot, and that one is knocked away. And back away comes Dan Coates of the Knighthawks. 13th season in the National Lacrosse League for Dan Coates. Hailing out of St. Catharines. Fed across the shot. I think Damew got a piece of that one as he just robbed Graydon Hogg.
Yeah, Hogg was right on the back doorstep, and it nicely executed by the Knighthawks, but Damoud slid faster than Hogg expected and is able to make the save.
Resetarits gets it over now on the far side. Just over 6.5 remaining in the contest. Now to Fennell. In and out of the stick of Burkhoff, and Medeiros is going to wait for the shot clock violation. And it's picked up by McConvey. He's all over the floor tonight, Thomas McConvey, literally.
Especially in these last couple of minutes as Patton comes out of the box now, so it's an even 5-on-5, but 6 minutes to go and the Wings are down by 6. They're quickly running out of time.
Lansbury shooting through a screen. That one is knocked away by the Wings defense. Picked up now by Waters in front, and that one is shot wide of the net by Lansbury. Played on ahead, charging down the floor, in on goal, the shot right off the helmet of Rylan Hartley. Great opportunity, but Hartley makes the save. This time uses his noggin to deny Patton. Lansbury with it. Spinning away. Over now to Smith, in on goal. The shot, that's off the mask of Damude. On the near boards, Graydon Hogg has it taken away by Corbeil. Davis Allen against Jensen to O'Neill in the slot. Runs into Pacino. Now gives it over to Resetarits. Resetarits with it. Looking, gets his hands free, fires that one wide, and Gilray will pick that one up as it ricocheted off the end boards.
Yeah, just trying to get something on goal at this point. Is there, as we mentioned, there's not a lot of possessions left in this game, so they've got to try to capitalize on every single possession that they have.
In front, and that's an illegal pick behind the play as now McConvey is tied up in the near corner. They got Waters in there for the Knighthawks as well.
Yeah,
Foley in there for Philly. And everything is sorted out. Everyone gets separated. 14-8, Rochester, and Rylan Hartley using every bit of his equipment to make the save as Patton off the mask as he heads it away. You're watching the National Lacrosse League. (14-8) Rochester Knighthawks, and next week ESPN has you covered for all your NLL action. First, a Saturday doubleheader on ESPNU as the Rush head east to take on the Thunderbirds at 6 Eastern, followed by the Swarm traveling to the Loud House to take on the Mammoth. And then Sunday on ESPN2, the 3-time defending champion Bandits head to Cowtown to take on the Roughnecks. All 3 games are also available on ESPN Plus, TSN Plus, and NLL Plus.
Man, what a weekend of games that is.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you take a look, how about the Wings? 16 goals in 2 games, fewest through 2 games since 2020. That's pre-COVID.
Yeah, they're getting nice looks, but they're just not burying their shots. And Rylan Hartley has played very well in cage for the Knighthawks with 31 saves so far tonight.
Over now near side to Fennell. Fennell gets it back, now near side. O'Neill scores! Brennan O'Neill with the shot that beats Hartley, and it's 14-9.
And Brennan O'Neill, the first goal in just about 10 minutes of action for the Wings. And you mentioned how Ian Rubel said they wanted to be a little more unselfish, and here's an opportunity where he's got an opportunity against Brad Gillies, and he just powers that one past Rylan Hartley and gets one of the goals back for the Philly Wings. But Jeremy Thompson wins the face-off.
Coates now firing it down the floor, and Thompson was posted up, but that one is tapped away, and Pace will give it on ahead now. That's taken by Armstrong. Dameud wants to come to the Philadelphia bench. It's a hold on for a second.
They're telling him not yet.
Down by 5. As Reza Terrence has it stripped away, but picked up and fired in on goal, and Hartley makes the stop. The point-blank shot by Sinfield.
Yeah, Sinfield just ripped a laser at Hartley. He just got enough of that to knock it out of bounds. Gives a fresh 30 for Philadelphia, though.
Sinfield to Fennell. Fennell shooting off the helmet of Hartley again. Played up the floor, Pacino looking for a hat trick. He scores! Jake Pacino, his first National Lacrosse League hat trick.
Craig, we talked about earlier in the game the 4 horsemen. We didn't think the 5th horseman was going to be Jake Pacino. His second-year pro gets away. You see IDA closing in on him, but Pacino is way ahead of him, and IDA could not close ground fast enough. And Pacino, with his first career hat trick, to go along with a team-high 7 loose balls.
And they're going to face it off again. The ball got pinned in the carpet. 3:23 to go. 15-9 Rochester. So after the goal by Pacino, we talk about how much these players from Rochester really like and respect each other. Ryan Smith scooped up the ball and gave it to Jake Pacino. And O'Neill now on the restart.
So Griffin down on the floor said that Ryan Smith immediately grabbed that ball for Jake Pacino so he could keep that hat trick ball.
And Reza Terrence comes right back for Philadelphia.
So Joe Reza-Terrence gets his second of the game. He's closing in on becoming the first American with 900 career points, as he has paced himself nearly 2 points ahead of Casey Powell, who's second all-time on the American goal scorers list. And Connor Fields, by the way, is 7th, as Connor Fields is closing in on 500.
Oh, and Thistlethwaite now is going to get tied up, and he's ripped down to the floor.
Medeiros got in there, Mitchell Armstrong, Pacino.
And is that Liam Patton? Yeah, Patton's on the rookie for Rochester. And now here we go. We got a goalie fight. Dameud and Hartley want to go.
Oh, Dameud taking his stuff off.
Second career bout for Rylan Hartley. The last one was in Albany. And here we go, Hartley against Dameud. Fans getting their money's worth. Hartley with a big right hand, now a left. He's switching hands. Dameud comes over the top. Hartley tried with the uppercut. Now Dameud hits him with a right. Hartley comes back with a right hand. Oh, a big left hand by Hartley, another one. And Rylan Hartley getting these fans all riled up here in Rochester. It's a rarity we ever see one. And now Hartley's got 2 in his career.
He's got 2 W's in those two fights.
And this is how it all started. You see the fans on their feet.
As the fans are watching a replay on the Jumbotron of Hartley swinging back and forth with Demute, as Riley Hutchcraft will come in and Deacon Knott will come in, as both goalies will end their night. I mean, just looking at the replays, I mean, I think you can award Rylan Hartley a TKO. I mean, he got that left hook in there right at the end. And both captains coming out to the middle of the field, Coates and Corbeil, so they can sort things out as both backup goaltenders come in the game.
So you see Deacon Knott, 6'1", 195, 3rd NLL season.
Deacon out of Curve Lake, Ontario, former 2nd round pick by the Wings. And Riley Hutchcraft, we mentioned he came over in that trade along with Connor Fields from Las Vegas in his 8th season.
Right.
Well respected amongst his team.
On the play are as follows. Rochester, number 15, has a 2-minute dead ball foul. After the dead ball foul, both teams' goaltenders have 5 minutes for fighting and a game misconduct because we're under 5 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter.
So Thistlethwaite will get 2 minutes in the box, and both goalies 5-minute majors, and they get run.
So here's the thing. Deacon Knott and Riley Hutchcraft are starting their team's next games.
Yeah.
So unfortunate that both of these teams are going to lose their starters for next game. But that'll definitely sell some tickets. And I think Rylan Hartley said, "This is my house." 15-10, Fennell tried to feed it across, and there's a penalty coming up to the Knighthawks.
Yeah, LeClaire hit the deck right in front of the cage, and he got cross-checked. I believe it was Chad Tutton that got him. Yeah, Tutton's the one going to the box. So now it'll be a 5-on-3 for Philadelphia.
Justin Meyer penalty, 2 minutes, illegal cross check.
So Tutton, illegal cross check, he's in the box.
So take a look at this again. Watch 44 in black here as he initially hits LeClaire, and then he gets him for a second time.
Philadelphia now, O'Neill feeds it across, he scores! As LeClaire bounces it home, it's 15-11.
So LeClaire gets the power play goal and makes it a four-goal game, with 2:54 to play. That'll pull Thistlethwaite out of the box. You see the shot fake, and LeClaire gets a wide open look at the cage. So that is the 3rd power play goal for the Philly Wings. For LeClaire, it's his 2nd of the night.
Another face-off win, so Philadelphia.
And this is where the game is not over yet, because Jeremy Thompson has struggled at the face-off X for Rochester, as Rowlett has won 23 of 31 face-off opportunities, so it gives the Wings those extra possessions.
And the shot from the outside, and Hutchcraft makes the save. And it's fed on ahead to Gillies. Gillies across midfield, gives it to Waters. Just over 2 to go. Both goalies have been ejected for fighting. If you just joined us, that was Damude and Hartley of Rochester. Here comes Ed Williams, spinning through 4 players, flips it on back now to Waters, and that one is intercepted, and back away comes Philadelphia as Corbeil will loft it on back.
So there's still 50 seconds left in the power play for Philadelphia.
Reardon up top now, O'Neal, Reardon, O'Neal feeds it across. What a save by Hutchcraft, another save. Back-to-back stops by Hutchcraft.
Great job by Riley Hutchcraft with 2 difficult shots to try to defend by the wings, and he's able to knock them both away.
And that's going to be deflected across center, where it's picked up by Burkhoff, who's having a great game offensively. 2 goals for Philadelphia. Now Resiteritz to Reardon. 1:08 to go. Burkhoff to Reardon. Drops it back, the shot. That one whistles wide by Leclerc. Grabbed out of the box. Here comes Hutton. In on goal. The shot saved by Knott. Now here come the wings. Wagner got it over to Resiteritz. 46 seconds to go. Drop pass to Leclerc. Now Resiteritz. Passes it to Fennell with 36 to go. Fed in front, the shot. Another save by Hutchcraft as he got the left arm out. That pass is knocked down. Batted up the floor by Medeiros. And that one is kept in. Sinfield got over to Resiteritz, fed through the slot. That's intercepted by Pacino. We're down to 14 seconds. Lofted over now to Medeiros. Down to 8 seconds. Medeiros getting across center. Yeah, we got an illegal screen, so Philadelphia with one last crack at it. Taken there by Young. Pushes off his defender, takes it in on goal, and he misses wide. And now Hutchcraft knocks down his man behind the net. As that was Young. As everyone getting separated, a little smirk there by head coach Mike Hazen as his team improves to 2-0. Hutchcraft did not like that last shot attempt after the final buzzer.
So both teams will go back to their bench as Rochester gets their first win under the Seneca Nation ownership group. And here's the final play here. Is Young, I don't know what he did, but he set Hutchcraft off big time. So Riley Hutchcraft is one of the most mild-mannered people you'll ever meet. So clearly something that Hutchcraft didn't like happened at the very end to cause that rough stuff at the very end. So you see the Rochester Knighthawks, they have that opportunity.
Time to reveal tonight's star of the game, brought to you by TFL.
So the star of the game, Connor Fields, as he had an outstanding night tonight. 11 points for Connor Fields, 5 goals, 6 assists for the reigning National Lacrosse League MVP. As the Knighthawks get their first home win of the season, they go 2-0 on the season.
No, Rochester 2-0, Philadelphia 1-1, and a game that got really feisty at the end.
Yeah, it certainly got testy at the end of this game as we saw both starting goaltenders get into a fight, and they both got run. Riley Hutchcraft at the end knocked Young over. So these are teams that know each other very, very well. And sometimes it gets a little bit physical at the end, but the Knighthawks come out of this one 15-11 winners. An 11-point night, 32 saves by Rylan Hartley to pace the Knighthawks. Joe Resiteritz finishes with 5 points on 2 goals, 3 assists. Brendan O'Neill with 5 points as well on 1 goal and 4 assists. On the other side for the Knighthawks, Ryan Lanchbeer with 7 assists. We mentioned Connor Fields, 5 goals, 6 assists for 11 points. 4 points for Ryan Smith. 4 points for Jake Pacino, 3 goals and an assist. And Hartley with those 32 saves in goal as he gets the win.
And we'll go down to Griffin. It's with our player of the game, Connor Fields.
Ripper, thank you. Connor, already through 2 games so far this season, 9 goals. How would you describe your play thus far and how you're really picking your spots?
You know, I think it's just a testament to the team. You know, we got a selfless group, as I said earlier, and, you know, a lot of threats out there. So, you know, there's times out here that I find myself with more space with all these threats, and, you know, I just try to hit my spot. So, you know, I've missed a little bit of camp, so still getting into the swing of things here, but, you know, I think it's a good start for us both ways, offensively and defensively.
What's it like seeing your goalie throw some hands and really get this crowd rolling?
Man, he's so good. I mean, he's the ultimate competitor. He does whatever it takes to win, and he does stuff like that too that just gets the crowd even more into it. You know, we're really lucky to have him in that, have Hutchie in that. You know, Hutchie came in and played great after, and yeah, he's off to a great start. So it's great to see.
And to get a home win in front of this crowd, first one here at home under new ownership, what does it mean to not just you guys on the field, but this entire organization?
I think it's a big step for us. You know, I think we're really excited, obviously, all of us, for the new ownership. Not to say the old ownership, you know, was bad or anything, because they were great too, but you know, I think it just adds another level of excitement. They're around the team a lot. They really care about us, and you know, it shows. We're out here having fun and playing, you know, for them and for all these fans here in Rochester. So it's good to get this first win at home.
Congrats on the win, Fieldsy. Ripper, send us away.
Thanks a lot, Griffin. Once again, our final score is 15-11 Rochester. For Brendan McDaniels, Griffin Della Penna, producer, director Joel Kate, and our entire crew, I'm Craig Rumsinski. This has been a presentation of the National Lacrosse League in association with Freedom Broadcast Studios. Click over to ESPN Plus for the conclusion of the Georgia-Saskatchewan game, followed by Ottawa-Las Vegas at 10 Eastern. Thanks for watching, and good night from Rochester, New York.